yeah, I'm so happy you're here. I am welcoming you back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. I'm still getting used to that. It's very exciting for me, being new to YouTube, to say that to you. I am a personal chef here in New York City. I am obviously a cat mom. Charlie will probably be with us for the majority of this video. If you are a cat owner yourself, then you know that it is the cat's world and we are just living in it. Sweet Charlie, she's gonna stay there. We are going to get into some meal prep Q&As today. I want to talk to you about a few different frequently asked questions that I get. I have a large, really fun community over on Instagram, and I get a lot of questions about meal prep on a regular basis through my DMs and comments on my photos and reels and all that good stuff. I decided to just sit down and address those questions with you today. I want to talk a little bit about what makes me qualified to talk specifically about meal prep, and that is that being a personal chef is really just a fancy way of saying that I am a professional meal prepper. I go into my clients' homes, I make them a big batch of food, a variety of things on a weekly or bi-weekly basis, pop it away in the fridge for them to enjoy over the course of the week, and that is part of my job. I do content creation and other things on the side as well, but yeah, that's a big part of my job that I started while I was in culinary school here in New York City. Now that hopefully my qualifications are clear to you, let's get right into the questions. I did the thing that I feel like a lot of these Q&A type videos start with, which is I posted one of those question boxes over on my Instagram stories, and you all really delivered with your questions. So let's just dive right in. Any foods that are not for meal prep? And this is a very simple answer. I will say yes. The main thing that you don't want to meal prep is anything that's meant to be like crispy, crunchy at the time that you eat it. So things like French fries, things that have been fried. Baked French fries are kind of a different story, but fried French fries, if you think about like ordering fried French fries as takeout and then trying to eat them the next day, they're really not that good. And if you try to reheat them, they're like soggy and not great. And that's pretty much the case for any fried food. I'm not the type of person who whips out my deep fryer. I don't even own a deep fryer. Having fried food as meal prep doesn't make sense for me anyway, but if you're thinking that you want to incorporate fried food, meal prep is just probably not the place. The other thing that comes immediately to mind in terms of foods that are not for meal prep is sandwiches. They just tend to sog out. The bread goes pretty soggy and it can also go stale, like stale, soggy, not fun. You can definitely meal prep a sandwich and not assemble it, but to me, the amount of time and effort it takes to assemble a sandwich at the time that you're going to be eating is at that point not really worth it. The point of meal prep is to save time. Those are my top two things that I would say are just not for meal prep. Another food that I think of a lot when it comes to whether or not it's meal prep appropriate is salad. A pal over on Instagram said, I struggle with keeping prepped salads fresh / not wilting. Tips. Yes, I do have tips. Thank you for providing a perfect segue from the last question. I would say that meal prepping a salad with a delicate lettuce is just not a good idea. I'm talking about your butter lettuce, even romaine, and things like iceberg, really delicate lettuces that when you think of touching them, they've got like almost soft skin-like quality. Sorry, that is disgusting, but yes, they're just not tough greens. They are not going to hold up for longer than a day or two in the fridge. I've definitely meal prepped salad with those types of lettuces. You just need to plan to eat them within, I would say, a day or two of meal prepping them. So plan to make them for your lunch for the next 2 days. And if you want to keep a salad in the fridge for longer than that, you're gonna wanna go for hearty greens. Think about kale. I know we're all tired of the basic B kale salad, but it is so great for meal prep. It holds up amazingly. It actually really defies the logic of a lot of meal prepped salads that says don't dress your salad ahead of time. With a kale salad, you really can. You may want to reserve a little on the side just to like boost up the flavor later, but you can definitely dress and massage a kale salad at the time that you're prepping it, and then store it away and juice it up with a little bit more salad dressing at the time that you're gonna be eating it. That's not a problem at all. It'll even just get better with age. Other greens that eat that way are things that are in the same cruciferous vegetable family as kale. So that would be Brussels sprouts that you shred, cabbage that you slice thinly, and I even like a broccoli slaw. I'm a huge fan of a slaw for meal prep, and all those things can be made into really yummy slaws/salads that you dress the same day and maybe leave a little bit of that dressing on the side. The other category of green that I would say you definitely can go with is a heartier lettuce that's not technically cruciferous, I don't think, and that is arugula. If you like a peppery green and want a green that's not necessarily as hearty as kale, arugula is a really good option for you. I think in the UK and other places people call it rocket, but yes, we call it arugula here, and I really enjoy it for meal prep. This is not one that I would dress ahead of time. I would keep the dressing on the side. Make sure that when you store it, you're not storing it with any really moist ingredients like roasted veggies. Keep those off to the side, or store them in concentric lines so that they're not touching the lettuce, and that will help keep the lettuce from wilting. Anyway, let's get into our third question, but before we do that, I feel like Charlie wants to be left in peace for her nap, so let's do a little bit of a location change. Hello, hi, welcome to my kitchen. Let's just dive right back in. I had one of you ask me, how long do different foods last? I had another person ask me how long prep food can stay in the fridge. A lot of people ask me questions about this, and for good reason. We all want to be safe. I definitely understand that. What I like to go by loosely is the FDA guidance. I'll share a link down below. Maybe I'll post a little guy right here. And for legal reasons, I will tell you that that is what you should go by. I will also tell you that I typically go by sight and scent and even a little bit of a bite to decide if something is good or not. But generally, most things last in the fridge, even seafood, 3 to 4 days. That's that FDA guidance, is 3 to 4 days. A lot of things go a little longer than that, and I will also say that the FDA is a US regulatory organization that I will not get into the politics of it, but there are lobbies that definitely impact the way that these recommendations are made. So again, go by that, but also go by your sense of taste and sight and smell to let you know whether or not the food is still good. If it tastes good and looks good, it probably is still good to eat. I will also say that if you are someone who does not like leftovers, hates them, or you live with someone who does not like leftovers, then meal prep may not be the thing for you. Meal prep is just eating leftovers. If that's not your bag, then meal prep might not be the best way to approach cooking, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not for everyone. I don't meal prep 100% of the time, or even 60% of the time. Okay, I have another question here. What are the best time-saving tips? This is the key to meal prepping effectively. You need to be efficient in the kitchen in order to find meal prep enjoyable and worthwhile. The whole point of it is to save you time. So if you are prepping in a way that is taking you as much time or more time than it would to cook normally, then meal prep is not working for you. You want to make it work for you. And my best time-saving tip is to get comfy using a game plan. All I mean by using a game plan is getting an idea of what you're going to be cooking that day for your meal prep, and slotting all of the steps that you're going to be taking for your individual meals or dishes into a way that makes sense, where you're multitasking. You've got something on your cutting board, on your stove, and if it's not sweltering hot like it is in New York City right now, then in your oven. At most times during your meal prep, this is a good way to think about meal prepping. If you are just starting out, I think writing down all these steps that you're going to be taking and shuffling them around is a really good way to approach this, because it'll help you really wrap your head around what you're going to be doing in the kitchen. If you're a seasoned cook, no pun intended, yes, pun intended, and you feel really comfortable with the idea of multitasking and can really just immediately wrap your head around putting that to use in a meal prep way, then you don't really need to be writing down the steps. I definitely started out writing everything down. Actually, I started out cooking things one to the next, and that is not a good way to approach meal prep. The first ever client that I did It was not a long-term client, it was just a one-off thing, and I spent 8 hours working on 10 meals for the week for this person, and yeah, it was a really good learning, and I definitely realized very quickly after that that I needed to be multitasking, not, focusing on my stir fry, then moving on to my rice, then moving on to my chicken dish, then, you know what I'm saying. Don't do that. Don't be like me. Try multitasking. If you are like, Erica, I really don't understand what you're saying, then I have 2 resources for you. The first one is an ebook called The Beginner's Guide to Meal Prep. I wrote it. The link is down below. You can check it out, and it includes 2 large meal prep menus that are, if you care about this, they're 100% gluten-free and they're mainly plant-based. And those menus each have a game plan. So I've done the heavy lifting of making the game plan, explaining what a game plan is so that you can apply it for yourself in the future. And then the second resource I have for you are meal prep classes. I teach virtual meal prep classes with a partner, Abigail. We have so much fun doing them together. They're live over Zoom. If you can catch one, that's great. I will drop the link below, but they're also evergreen. So if you just want to cook along with us but not have to worry about joining something live, you can purchase a recording for the class, and we use a game plan in those classes. You receive the game plan. We also talk about the game plan in every class. So yes, those are the 2 resources I would recommend if you're like, I am still confused about this multitasking thing. Okay, let's get into the final question. This is probably the thing that I am asked about most, and I am excited to share it to a broad audience now. It is best containers. That's it, best containers. I get asked about my favorite containers all the time, and I get it, containers are very important to meal prep. So I will say that I am a glass gal for no other reason than they are pretty. They show up nicely in pictures. I understand that being concerned about BPAs is a thing, and so, in my mind, if I can avoid them, I'm not a scientist or a doctor or anything like that, so I go for glass mostly for aesthetic reasons and for the reason of I do not take my lunch with me to work every day. If you need something light to carry with you because you do that, then I would say that you should go for plastic and choose something that you feel comfortable with. I am going to drop my favorite containers below. You can take a peek at what I recommend. I will drop a plastic option that I have used with a client that I really liked, and I will drop various sizes down in the box below. You know what? One second. I'm actually just gonna grab one of my favorites out because I feel like it will be interesting for you to see. Okay, I'm back. This is a glass container from a company called Prep Naturals. I really like the way that the top clicks on. I, again, will be dropping a link to this below. I like that it is glass. Like I said, it's pretty. It's got a nice aesthetically pleasing lid as well. I heated my lunch up in this today and it worked perfectly because they have this little steam vent. These are good containers. You can order them from Jeffrey Bezos, unfortunately, and I will drop the link below. All right, I think we have covered it today. I want to know what questions I didn't get to that you still have about meal prep. I would love to know if this type of Q&A format is interesting or fun for you. You can leave comments below. If you have any additional questions, again, leave a comment below. Again, another thing that I'm just still getting used to doing, but please subscribe if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, hit that bell button to be notified when I drop a new video. All right, that's it from me. I hope you have a well-fed week ahead, and until next time.